watumishi wako umewapa yote waombayo,
ikiwa umependezwa.
Uamualo hakuna wa kulipinga, hakika wewe ni Mungu
wa vyote.
Unatawala dunia na vilivyomo, makuu umeyatenda
Jehova.
Hakika tumeona
Baba, mkono wako Bwana,
kweli
matendo yako Bwana ni makuu
na
umetutoa mbali,
kweli
ukatushika mkono
Mungu
mahali uliona pekee. Chini hata juu watu unawainua, sifa na utukufu ni zako milele. Tasifu jina lako milele, tutakusifu daima, wewe mwema, tutaishi kwako. Tumeuona mkono wako Bwana, matendo yako Bwana ni makuu umetutoa mbali, ukatushika mkono mahali uliona pekee. Chini hata juu watu unawainua, sifa na utukufu ni zako milele. Tasifu jina lako milele, tutakusifu daima, wewe mwema, tutaishi kwako.
Msalabani ulitufia, ulitupenda,
Dhambi zetu kabeba,
baraka zako tuliziomba, kweli tumeona.
hakika unabariki.
Hata vipaji wewe hutoa, umetuwezesha.
Tunaimba na kusifu,
Walio haki hutoacha, uliwaahidi.
hata mwisho wa dahari.
Habari za asubuhi.
Watu wako umewapa
Asanteni sana, karibuni
mamlaka
sana.
kwa jina lako Yesu.
Waponye,
Cashew, National Cashew.
Waamuzi wote ni sawa kwako, umetuita Yesu.
tupone.
Hakika wewe ni mwema,
Tumeuona mkono wako Bwana, matendo yako Bwana ni
Free, endelea kuongea jua biashara ni gani pale, mambo ni gani. Na leo tutoke hapa hivi hivi. Sawa sawa? Thank you so much and welcome once again. I'll be your MC.
tunamsifu
throughout the
Mungu.
conference. Asanteni sana na
Anatulinda
DJ tuendelee.
kila siku. Upendo wake umetuzunguka siku zote. Haleluya. Huku na huku,
kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka.
kila ninapoimba
Kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu
We are requesting wale wote ambao wako nje, tunaomba tafadhali tuko karibu kuanza. If you can hear me, tunaomba tuingie ndani. We want to start in the next few minutes, so if you can hear me from outside, the ones who are the booths, karibuni sana. Tunataka kuanza in the next few minutes. Asante sana DJ.
Tunamsifu Mungu, anatulinda kila siku. Upendo wake umetuzunguka siku zote. Haleluya. Huku na huku, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Kila ninapoimba, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Iwapo nimelala, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Na ninapotembea tembea, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Hata nikiwa nakula, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Ninapo safarini, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Nikiwa masomoni, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Kila tunapokwenda tumezungukwa na nguvu za Mungu, na kila tunalolifanya ambalo ni kwa ajili ya utukufu wa jina lake, tumezungukwa na upendo wake. Haleluya. Huku na kule na hapo, mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Anichagulia mitego ya mwovu, mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Ninalindwa kuliko wakuu wa dunia, nakwambia, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Hata nikiwa peke yangu, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Na nikiwa nyumbani kwangu, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Na nikiwa kazini, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Yeah. Huku na huku, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Nikiwa hospitalini, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Nimezungukwa na nguvu za Mungu, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Huku na huku, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Mawimbi, kama mawimbi, upendo wa Yesu wanizunguka. Huku na kule na hapo, kama mawimbi. Tunamsifu Mungu, anatulinda kila siku. Upendo wake umetuzunguka siku zote. Haleluya. Huku
umezunguka.
Wako safarini.
Hey Baba, Olodumare, my one and only, the giver of life, iko tunanapa. Mesimama cause uko na mimi, you never let me go. Mipaka yangu umeitanulia mbali, even sky see your limit kwa ikibali. Hata haters wanashangilia kwa ndani, umewawinga oh. Sina kingine mimi najivunia zaidi yako Baba, maana niko tuli nimetulia, wewe unagabaya. Hata wale wananionea usuda, shabaha yao mbaya. Watapataje mwamba umenifunika, ure watataya. Cause I know that you got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall down. Iteleza Baba unaniinua, janitupa wala ujanijutia. Kama ni toba zimejaa gunia, ukweli kwamba tumenirumia. Ningekulipa nini kama ungetaka nilipe jema moja moja, maana hata hii pumzi nayovuta hakuna dola ingetosha. Na kingine mimi najivunia zaidi yako Baba, maana niko tuli nimetulia, wewe unagabaya. Hata wale wananionea usuda, shabaha yao mbaya. Utampataje mwamba umenifunika, ure watataya. Cause I know that you got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall down. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall down. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall down. Never fall down. Always by my side. Always by my side. That's why I never fall down.
Killer.
Hey Baba, Olodumare, my one and only, the giver of life, iko tunanapa. Mesimama cause uko na mimi, you never let me go. Mipaka yangu umeitanulia mbali, even sky see your limit kwa ikibali. Hata haters wanashangilia kwa ndani, umewawinga oh. Sina kingine mimi najivunia zaidi yako Baba, maana niko tuli nimetulia, wewe unagabaya. Hata wale wananionea usuda, shabaha yao mbaya. Watapataje mwamba umenifunika, ure watataya. Cause I know that you got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never fall down. Iteleza Baba unaniinua, janitupa wala ujanijutia. Kama ni toba zimejaa gunia, ukweli kwamba tumenirumia. Ningekulipa nini kama ungetaka nilipe jema moja moja, maana hata hii pumzi nayovuta hakuna dola ingetosha. Na kingine mimi najivunia zaidi yako Baba, maana niko tuli nimetulia, wewe unagabaya. Hata wale wananionea usuda, shabaha yao mbaya. tampataje mwamba umenifunika kure wakataya. Cause I know that you got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never, never, never fall in love. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never, never, never fall in love. You got me where you got me. You got me where you got me, Papa. You got me where you got me. That's why I never, never, never fall in love. Never, never, never fall in love. Always by my side. Always by my side.
Mdomoni ponza kichwa, chunga sana kinywa chako, usinene mabaya, usinene mabaya. Baraka upate baraka. Leo naongea juu yangu, kesho yatakuzunguka wewe. Ukimtupa mwenzio kwenye kivuli, kesho mwanga utakukosa tena. Ukicheka machozi ya jirani, ukilia nani atabaki? Kile unachokisema kwa hasira kinarudi moyoni, kinapunguza pole pole. Wewe sema pema, ukisema sema kwa upendo. Wewe kata tamaa ya laana, ukimwaga uchungu utavunwa mwenyewe. Mdomoni ponza kichwa, chunga sana kinywa chako, usinene mabaya, usinene mabaya. Baraka upate baraka, 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 baraka. Ukitamka heri, heri, heri itarudi. Ukitupa moto, moto utakuchoma. Mdomoni ponza kichwa, chunga sana kinywa chako. Yeah. Ulisema hatafanikiwa, sasa unaangalia kwa wivu. Maneno yako yanakufunga miguu, unabaki pale pale, unaumia kimya kimya. Ukimdharau aliye chini, utakutana naye juu ya ngazi. Ukitia uchungu kwenye damu, utasahau ladha ya amani moyoni. Wewe sema wema, ukisema sema kwa upendo. Usiweke sumu kwenye ndimi, ukiwasha vita, vita, vita baki kwako. Mdomoni ponza kichwa, chunga sana kinywa chako, usinene mabaya, usinene mabaya. Baraka upate baraka, 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 baraka. Ukitamka heri, heri, heri itarudi. Ukitupa moto, moto, moto utakuchoma.
Nieleze kwa sauti ya upole, akili zangu zikuelewe. Rudia, rudia kama vile kwa mtoto, nisisahau neno lako. Hebu nieleze kwa sauti ya upole, akili zangu zikuelewe. Rudia, rudia kama vile kwa mtoto, nisisahau neno lako. Bwana nieleze kile kilichokufanya ukaja hapa wakati ule. Yote ya mbinguni hukuyaona kitu, ukajaishi na viumbe. Bwana nieleze kile kilichokufanya
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning once again. Habari zenu. If you can see me, just wave at me like this. Nisalimie kidogo. Thank you so much. And welcome. Karibuni sana. I want to officially just kama mko pale nje tunaomba tafadhali tuingie so that we can officially start our session. Karibuni sana. Just a few things now. Could I have my slides on the housekeeping? Thank you so much. For everybody who has arrived, karibu sana. Here you'll be taken care of. And we are here as well in this National Cashew Conference to discuss all matters cashew nuts. Na kwa Kiswahili tunaita cashew nuts nini? Korosho. Sawa sawa. Mambo yote ya korosho tutafanya. Sawa sawa. I'm sure we'll also have some to eat. Sijui nani ameniletea kidogo, but tutaongea. Thank you so much once again for being here. Jambo la kwanza, if you need to visit the washrooms just at the back there at the exit, ama pale across pale venye umeingia pale, you can be assisted. Kwa hivyo if you want to visit the washrooms, tembea pale utasaidiwa. Number 2, tunaomba tafadhali to engage ourselves. Tumeleta a lot of experts in the house. We have quite a number of experts in the house. We have people who are willing to answer all the questions. Kwa hivyo maswali yote, especially to our farmers wenye wako hapa, tutaweza kujibiwa, si ndio? Let me see by show of hands, how many farmers do we have in the house? Kama wewe ni mkulima wa korosho, ndio wengi hata. Hebu tujipigie makofi. Thank you so much for being here. The farmers are the majority. Unajua kuna watu wanasemanga mimi ni farmer lakini ni farmer kwa roho. Tunasema wale ambao wanalima kabisa. Asante sana. Thank you so much for being here. Wacheni niwaelezee kidogo mambo ambayo tutaona. Mgeni wetu mheshimiwa amefika lakini tutamkubalisha kwanza atembee kidogo pale and then he will come and join us. That's the PS. But first we shall get to understand a few things about the status and performance of this cashew nut industry. What's the status and performance? But when DJ, if you don't mind, I could have one microphone kidogo, one microphone to just go around kidogo too. I want to talk to 3 or 4 farmers kidogo tu ile, so that we can get to understand a few things. Sawa sawa? In the meantime, even as I talk to the farmers, naomba tafadhali, if kama uko na ile simu ambayo inaweza scan hiyo QR code ni mzuri sana, so that we can be talking. Nimesema lazima to engage. So when we have speakers here, panelists pale, mambo kama yale, it is for us to ensure that we engage with them. Sawa sawa? So if you can scan that. Kama haiwezi scan, unaweza andika ile slido.com and the password is korosho. Sawa sawa? Mambo yote ni korosho hapa. Sawa sawa? Where is that microphone? Is it around? Excellent. Yes. Hi. Naomba tafadhali, nimeona we have a lot of farmers in the house. I want to know your expectations. Matarajio yenu ni yapi leo? Sawa sawa? Hebu jo kidogo. Sasa nani ataniambia kitu ya kwanza? Kuna volunteers hapa ama hapa lazima nipeane tu? Sawa sawa. Nipe. Wacha nitajisaidia nayo. Sawa? Asante. Where are the farmers? Sawa sawa? Asante sana. Matarajio yako katika huu mkutano ni yapi? Twende basi.
Hello.
Hamjambo?
Matarajio, mimi naitwa Dr. Rumi Kugula. Matarajio yangu katika washa hii ni kwamba sisi wakulima tulivunjika moyo sana kwa sababu ya bei soko la korosho.
Kweli.
Hata mikorosho sasa tuikatakata tuwafanya kuni. Sasa tunataka kuambiwa, je, tukipanda mingi zaidi soko liko wapi?
Kweli. So mambo ya soko. Sio mambo ya soko.
Mimi nataka soko, mikorosho ninayo lakini soko.
Yes. And for the ones who may not have gotten that French, she's talking about the market. Where is the market? Sawa sawa? Haya, sijui kama kuna mwingine pande hii kabla nivuke ile pande mwingine. Matarajio yako in this conference ni yapi? Tafadhali. Twende.
Habari ya saa hizi.
Nzuri sana.
Matarajio yangu kwa mkutano ni kuwa hii mikorosho inatakiwa ijaliwe zaidi, kwa sababu si tunaenda sehemu lakini tunaona haijashughulikiwa vizuri. Kwa sababu mikorosho hatupati faida, kwa sababu mikorosho ni migonjwa. Na watu vile haina faida, watu wanakata. Kwa hivyo si tunataka matarajio yawe mazuri kusudi watu waache kukata mikorosho. Wawe wanapata faida na ile mikorosho, alafu ipandwe mingi.
Asante sana. Haya, ni kweli hapo unaona kupia hata unataka kusema jambo. Matarajio sana sana.
Na wasalimia nyote mjambo.
Hatujambo.
Majina yangu naitwa Jairo Macharia, mimi ni mkulima. Matarajio ambayo tunatarajia kupitia kwa kutoka kwa warsha hii ni korosho iweze kuboreka. Jambo lingine ambalo liko ni kwamba yule mkulima wa chini aweze kuangaliwa zaidi kwa kuwezeshwa na mambo ya kupata mbegu za ambazo zinaweza kumpa mazao zaidi
Kabisa.
Swala hilo la soko. Alafu kuwe kuna hiyo service provider ambao wanaosaidia, mfano kama upande wa Kilifi wanapiga dawa mikorosho, lakini huku kwetu hili jambo la kutunza mikorosho bado halijaweza kuzingatiwa kabisa.
Okay.
Kwa upande huo tuna expect penginepo katika warsha hii litaweza kuangaziwa zaidi, kwa sababu ili tuweze kuenda juu kiuchumi katika kilimo hiki cha korosho, lazima miundo misingi iweze kuzingatiwa zaidi ili kilimo cha korosho kiweze kiweze kuwa revived.
Yes.
Ni kama kwa sababu watu wengi wameweza kuikata mikorosho.
Watu wanakata.
Wanaikula kuni. Kwa sababu ya hilo swala la nini la bado hajaweza kuona umuhimu hiyo masuala ya korosho.
Asante.
Tuko na miti pia kama inaweza kuboreshwa zaidi, kama hiyo mambo ya grafting na nini, inaweza kuwa jambo la msingi zaidi.
Asante sana. Kweli mambo mazito pale. Ni kweli tunasema kwamba mkulima mdogo aangaliwe mambo kama naja pale. Wacha kwanza nivuke upande huu. Lakini naomba tukiongea tafadhali sekunde 30 tosha. Sawa ndio tuweze kusikia watu wengi kidogo. Haya, matarajio yako tafadhali. Twende.
Asante, naitwa Joseph Mtega kutoka Tharaka-Nithi.
Tharaka-Nithi?
Tharaka-Nithi.
Shukran, wamefika hawa. Asante.
Yangu ni matatu. Ni soko, teknolojia na pesa.
Kweli, pesa lazima.
Hiyo.
Haya, asante. Mambo ni matatu kwake. Soko, teknolojia na pesa. Asante sana. Haya, naam, sekunde zako tafadhali, twende.
Mimi ni kutoka Voi, Taita Taveta.
Karibu sana.
Matarajio yangu ni kwamba kule Taita sisi upanzi wa mikorosho si sana, ni mmoja. So kuja kutoka kule na kufika hapa ni kwamba nipate matarajio ya kufika kule na kuwaelimisha wengine kwamba maana ya upanzi wa korosho ni hivi ili waweze kudumisha kilimo cha korosho. So ni kuenda kuwaelimisha wenzangu.
Naam. Naomba tafadhali tupigie mwenzetu makofi kidogo pale. Unajua yeye anasema anataka kwenda kuelimisha wengine, si ndio? Jambo nzuri sana. Haya, wacha nije upande huu. Nilikuwa nimeona mikono mingi sana, lakini sasa wacha nianze pale. Sekunde zako ni 30 kama kawaida. Sawa, mpatie kipaza sauti pale aweze kusema yake, matarajio yako sana. Twende.
Kwa jina ni Shibe Nyero Mbaji kutoka Kwale, sehemu ya Boyani. Matarajio yangu ni kwamba nikaone yale mafundisho ama yale maswali tulionayo ni mengi, lakini sitaki kuyasema. Kitu tu kama Kwale niombe ya kwamba zao hili liwe na maofisa ya kufuatilizia kama vile mimea mingine. Kwa mfano saa hii nimalize na kusema kama mahindi, unajua kwenye message unapata kuna mbolea na hivi na mambo yote, lakini mikanju kwa Kwale kwa kweli ni kwamba hata mbegu tunazozipata unapanda unakuta korosho ni moja peke yake. Sasa unashindwa ni wapi? Na ushahidi ni nao. Kwa hivyo tupate mbegu nzuri, na tuko tayari kufanya biashara hii.
Asante sana. Mambo kweli kamili pale. Mbegu zao hili liwe uko hapa. Sawa, sekunde zako 30 wameniguza, amesema usinipite.
Mama Zipora Wanjiru kama kutoka Rungarunga Cross Border Women Traders, upande wa boda.
Ndio.
Sisi tunalima huko korosho, lakini sana niko kwa group tunafanya mambo ya processing. Tunafanya value addition ya cashew nut. Tunatengeneza snack na butter. ya cashew nuts. Tumesoma, tumemaliza, tumegraduate from Nairobi University, but tunataka soko na yeye na pesa.
Soko. Wacha niwaelezee, I have some good news. Somo letu la kwanza ama our first session ni kujua what is a state. Hii soko letu la korosho liko aje, si ndio? Ni vizuri tujue kama kuna demand kule. Unajua mkisikia kule sijui meli zimeanza kuuzibwa nini, mambo hayazienda, yanakuja pia kwetu, si ndio? Haya, simuona hata mafuta yamepanda kidogo. Haya, lakini wacha nisikie hapa alafu nije kwako, sawa? Haya, twende.
Kwa majina Chomengala Machiro kutoka Kilifi County. Matarajio yangu ningeona kwanza service providers wawe wataangaliwa ili hii mikorosho iwe inaweza kumaintainiwa na mambo yawe sawa. Pili, elimu ya mkorosho iweze kuingia nyanjani zaidi kupitia service provider. Pia tupate support miche na groups ziweze kupata hizo miche ili mikorosho iwe mingi.
Asante sana, mambo nzuri pale. Haya, twende.
Sina ni Lamek Mataza kutoka kule Kilifi County.
Kilifi,
mimi nataka nigonge msumari hapo kwa service providers.
Kweli.
Kwamba zao hili ni la maana. Na ni kwamba tungepata kitu kinaitwa calendar of event. Yani management, ujue mkorosho kipandwa, ukifika hapo utapigwa dawa gani. So hizo hatua hizo zote, yani management ikiwa sawa, production itakuwa sawa.
You're right. Ni vizuri tujue ndio usije ukapiga dawa wakati ambao ufai, si ndio? Asante sana. Ngoja kidogo, ule nilikuwa nimemwahidi zake 30 pia wacha nimpe. Asante.
Asante. Kwa majina naitwa Ramadhani Mwangudia kutoka Lungalunga. Mimi ni agent wa korosho. Lakini kumekuwa na tatizo sugu sana. Na hii ni kuhusu soko. Na sijui ni hii Kenya ama niseme ni kwetu Kwale, viwanda ni vichache sana. Saa hii tunakuza korosho Kwale lakini hakuna hata kiwanda kimoja. Mimi mwenyewe nilipeleka korosho Kilifi. The whole of last year nilinunua korosho na nilikuwa nachukua korosho Kwale, Lungalunga napeleka Kilifi. So mimi naomba baada hii washa, kwa sababu it is a national issue.
Absolutely.
Please, wahusika, nafikiri washikadau wako hapa.
Kweli.
Na nimeona kwamba waziri pia atakuwa hapa. Ni vizuri hili jambo liwe addressed. Na si ile mambo ya sarakasi. Unajua hii, mimi nasema tuna sarakasi nyingi sana sisi.
Kweli.
Kwa sababu unaambiwa hiki kitafanyika, lakini baada ya hapo hakuna kitu kinafanyika. So let us be realistic.
And we talk real things. Yes. Asante. I like that. Real solutions, practical solutions. That's what you're saying. Tusije tukasema tu. Ulikuwa hapa. Saa zako ni 30, si ndio? Kusema na kutenda. Asante. Haya, twende.
Okay. Habari ya asubuhi.
Nzuri sana.
Naitwa Mugambi kutoka Tharaka-Nithi.
So, umefika. Karibu.
Asante.
Sawa.
Yes. My expectation ni mambo na ngudi balayati ya kupanda.
Yes.
Na pia market leakages. Mambo na korosho.
Kabisa.
Kupanda, nijue mahali nitaipeleka.
Kabisa.
Yes.
Asante.
Asante.
Thank you very much. Naomba tafadhali haya yote matarajio, all our expectations, naja kwako mama. Ukiangalia pale pia unaweza niandikia pale, ndio wale ambao wanatuongelesha wakija pale nitawaambia angalieni watu wanatarajia nini pale. Kwa hivyo kama umeingia pale kwa hiyo simu na nimeona kuna wifi iko free pale, hapo nipo ile simu unasemanga simu kwa nini siku, unajua pia mtu anaweza kuambia hebu nipigie picha ya korosho zako. Kama simu haizi piga picha sasa tafanyaje? Unaona? Hapo ndio unajiziba. Asante. Tuko hapa. Matarajio leo sekunde 30. Twende.
Habari za asubuhi.
Nzuri sana.
Kwa majina naitwa Rose, natoka Ngombeni Ward. Niko sehemu ya Mwamshipi. Sisi ni wanachama wa kikundi cha Helen Shara Women Group. Tulianza biashara ya korosho kama kikundi.
Ndio.
Tukawa tunavunja korosho kienyeji, tukipeleka markiti, lakini sasa Mungu alitujalia. Tukafanya merry go round, tukaja tukapata pesa ya kiasi, tukanunua mashine kutoka Kilifi. Tuko na mashine ya kuvunja korosho, tuko na mashine ya kukoboa, tuko na dryer zake za kukosha korosho, lakini hatuna mtaji na hatuna mahali pa kwa tuweza kufanyia kazi kwa usafi. Tulikuwa tunaomba waheshimiwa waweze kutusaidia tuweze ku top up, tupate pia kuandika vijana ambao hawana vibarua.
Asante sana. direct to the point, just a space to work, ndio waweze kuendeleza kazi, si ndio? Asanteni sana. Kwa hivyo naomba pale katika simu yako tuandike tu matarajio yenu pale, so that we are able to at least tell the people who are coming what are our expectations today. Naona wengine wanaandika pale, to know how to improve on cashew productivity kabisa. We have 2 buying centers of korosho in Kilifi. We want to meet farmers who can bring us cashew nuts. Umesikia kuna watu ambao wanasema soko pale. Kuna mtu ameandika kwamba wananunua, hata wanataka, wamekuja hapa kujuana na the farmers here, ndio waweze kujua kunaendeleaje wakulima. Kwa hivyo mjue, msitoke hapa kabla mjajuana na hao watu, sawa sawa. Asanteni sana. Naona mwingine anasema nakuja hapa kujua pia venye kazi inaendelea hapa. Welcome. Understand pinning points and areas of improvement kabisa. Kuna ule mjamaa amesema timetable ile ya nikianza when I start growing my cashew nuts, what do I do at what stage, ndio usije ukapiga dawa wakati ambao ufai, mambo kama yale. Ladies and gentlemen, naomba tafadhali tujitayarishe kujua the status and the performance of the cashew industry. Na sijui kama Director Innocent Masira yako hapa, nataka kuangalia kama yuko ako tayari. Sawa sawa, nataka kukualika hapa ndio uweze kutuelezea what is the status, tuko aje, tuko wapi so far, and performance ya hii industry yetu ya korosho. Sawa sawa. Unajua yeye ndiye anaweza kuangazia ajue soko liko aje kule majuu, ndio tuweze kujua how far can we go. Kwa hivyo naomba kwa hisani yenu tafadhali tumkaribishe kwa makofi Mr. Innocent Masira. Akija makofi tafadhali, akija hapa ndio aweze kutuelekeza on the status and performance of this industry. Karibu sana Bwana Innocent Masira.
Thank you so much, Bwana MC. As introduced, my name is Innocent Masira. I work with Agriculture and Food Authority within the Market and Product Development Department. I first of all want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to the National Cashew Conference 2026. You are indeed a very important guest, and without your presence and participation, it will be an unsuccessful event. I'll briefly take you through an overview of cashew in Kenya, so that as we have our discussions here within the week, we can appreciate where we are, especially when you compare with other cashew producing countries across the world. Unfortunately, we are not doing very well, and I believe that is the reason why we are here, to try and look at the issues around cashew and how best to address them. The theme of the conference is Revive and Thrive, so that we can unleash Kenya's cashew potential. When the team organizing the conference was looking at the subsector, we felt that because of the performance where we are currently, we need to talk about revival because of the low performance. And therefore, that theme focuses on the industry as it is today and tries to do introspecting to try and get the best way possible. Let's move to the first slide, and we look at the historical perspective of Kenya's cashew industry. And according to data, the best performing year for Kenya's cashew was in the 1978. During that year, we were able to produce 45,000 metric tons. And that started going down until currently where we are below the 10,000 mark. And the reasons why that happened is because of inefficiencies, especially at the marketing level. As a result of that inefficiency, there was low pricing at farm gate, and therefore farmers started having apathy. That is neglect to the orchards, and therefore the low production that we are seeing today. Most of our cashew, historically, since those times to date, is being processed mainly at the cottage level and to a large extent at the industrial level. And our main market in that case is the local market, especially for the cottage, and export market for the industrial processors. So what is our processing capacity? Very high. Unfortunately, not matching our production. The figures that we have currently is that we have around 38,000 installed capacity of processing raw cashew nuts. And our production is below 10,000. It's around 8,000 metric tons, and therefore the difference between the 7,000 that goes into our processing facilities and what the production is goes into our cottage processing facilities. So that is the trend that I've just talked about, but in a graphical way. And you can see it has been a downward trend, a trend that we sit here today and see whether we can try and reevaluate, and see how best to chart a better way forward. Part of the reasons why we have that low production is what we call productivity. Mazao kwa mti, our production is very low. You can see the figure that we have quoted there of 15 kgs per tree on average. Of course, some trees are even lower than that. Against a potential of 80 for the kind of varieties that we grow. But I'm told with better varieties, that potential is much higher than 80 kgs per tree per year. So in the recent past, especially in the year 2025 and part of 2024, there's marginal growth that has been registered, and that is as a result of some institutional refocusing, especially from government agencies and the private sector, to try and revive cashew. What is the global outlook? How do we compare with other major producing countries? Globally, it is estimated that we produced around 5.2 million tons of cashew in the year 2025. And that is expected to hit the 6 million mark in the current year, that is 2026. Of course, Africa is the main producing area. It accounts for up to around 60% of world production. West Africa, when you come down into the regions within Africa, is performing quite better at 44% of Africa's production, and 13% comes from East Africa. And whatever comes from East Africa is majorly from Tanzania. Some parts of Mozambique also are part of the producing countries, and of course Kenya. But look at the figures, we are doing an estimated 0.2% of world production, not even 1%. So if we started listing countries producing cashew across the world, I'm sure if there are 40 countries, then it means Kenya might rank number 38, 39 to 40 there. It might be a negligible figure. We are not even listed there. We are in the category of the others, yani wale wengine kwa Kiswahili. Meaning we have a challenge, we have to dig deeper, put our heads together and get a better approach to reviving cashew in Kenya. So those are the major producing countries in the world. As I said earlier, we might not feature here, but if you compare our 8,000 metric tons to what Ivory Coast produced last year, they are almost hitting the 1 million mark compared to our 7,000, 8,000 metric tons. So in terms of percentage, I don't know, that should be a 0.00. India, of course, another good performer. Tanzania is there. Indonesia, Brazil, Benin, and Vietnam top that list of major producing countries in the world. We are still looking at the global trends, and a few issues come up. I have heard most of our farmers talk about markets, and maybe in this conference they will end up being assured that indeed there's a market for cashew and there's a future for cashew. And as consumer trends change across the world, even the consumption demand for cashew is changing. Our vegetarian consumers are looking at alternatives to dairy products, and cashew is one of them. Our consumers are looking at health snacking away from what we traditionally have been consuming. And in that case, cashew features as an alternative of a healthy, premium snack. Convenience packaging and innovation encourages more consumption of cashew, and it's likely to continue into the future that way because it's a dry grain that is easy to pack and move around conveniently. Labeling and sustainability. Consumers are becoming very concerned about how whatever they are consuming was produced. Can you trace it to the source? Under what conditions was that produced? Those are concerns of the consumer, and therefore cashew features highly as one of the commodities that you can easily trace and be able to tell that it was produced in a good environment. And therefore, going into the future, we are likely to continue seeing increased consumption around cashew. Of course, diversification in terms of use is also another reason why we expect more uses of cashew going forward. So some of those items that we have listed before, these are just photos of the same. That's convenience, packaging, some cashew pastes, the milk, to show that that is what the future looks like. And unfortunately, as a country, we are still at the kernel only level. We are yet to exploit other products like apples from cashew, especially for vinegar production. And even the kernel, our consumption is very limited. So it tells you that this is where the future is, and that indicates that there is potential for market growth for the cashew value chain. Back to our country, Kenya. Where do we produce cashew? It is predominantly a coastal crop, but in the recent past, we have seen expansion into non-traditional production areas within the eastern region mainly, and those are the counties. The yellow part is the traditional part, which is predominantly coastal, and the green part is where there's new crop coming up. But there are other areas which are suitable for cashew production yet to be exploited. So there is room for expansion. There is also room for replanting within the traditional production areas. And we are estimating that we are having less than 2 million cashew trees in Kenya, down from what was estimated to be more than 6 million trees. Of course, it's because of the neglect, and farmers have been cutting down those trees for purposes of firewood and other uses. Averagely, our farmers are doing an acre or less of cashew. You rarely find plantations of cashew in Kenya. That is the production per county. And for our international guests, welcome to Kenya. And in Kenya, we are administratively divided into counties. So those are the counties that we have listed there. Those are administrative units. And the counties that are listed there are basically found in the coastal region of Kenya. So this is an estimate from the National Census Survey national census, population and housing census of 2019, then estimates done on the same, and those are the figures that we are estimating in terms of farmers. And you can see most of them are still concentrated in the coastal region, especially Kwale and Kilifi counties. In terms of production trends in the last few years, 2022 to 2025, sometimes we are registering some marginal growth, and sometimes we are losing that growth within a very short time because of fluctuations of prices at farm gate. Our acreage almost static. Our production almost static. And this is as a result of gains and losses coming from replanting and cutting down. As new farmers come on board, some farmers feel like they are not doing very well, and they are cutting down those trees. So it's more of an oscillation within the same area. The gains are washed away by the apathy within the farming population. And those are the trends generally. So that is a graph showing that indeed, over the years, we have not been doing well. General trend. There is a year of interest where there was massive spraying of cashew trees, a spray program that resulted in major production being realized in a particular year, and you can see a spike around 2013 there. Unless now we go back and, do the same interventions that we were able to do at that time, we are not likely to improve our production. But it tells you that there is hope, that indeed with the concerted efforts, we can realize a higher production even from existing trees without even expansion. That is the value chain map, generally giving you an overview of who is who in the cashew industry in Kenya. Some of us may call it a typical value chain map for most agricultural commodities, starting from input, production, bulking, processing, all the way to consumption. We really have a short value chain as a country. Compared to other countries, our value chain is very, very short because there are very few players and we have exploited very few products. Product diversification is one of our challenges. We are mainly doing kernel production, that is it. And you are moving from the farm to the factory or the cottage level at home, and then you have the product, and that tells you why our value chain is short. The other deficiency we have in the value chain is the category of enablers. We have very few enablers working in this value chain to assist the major players achieve their objectives. The financing agencies, the government agencies, research, those are the enablers of the value chain, but unfortunately, they are not as many and they are not as active and well-financed to be able to support the value chain. Of emphasis, of course, is research. Our research seems to be almost non-existent. It is basic research which has not been able to assist us innovate and come up with solutions that are to the challenges that we are facing today. What are the reasons why we are there in terms of constraints? A list of those many challenges. Of course, I've just talked about research. It's very inadequate. And mainly because of financing challenges. Of course, if you dug deeper, you'll find institutional inefficiencies. You'll find even skill gaps at research level, which we need to capacity build ourselves and our research institutions to be able to address the many challenges that we seem to be facing. Of course, not to re-emphasize and re-emphasize the same point of low production and productivity, a major problem. Our production is done in very small units, and it tends to be uneconomical in the process because we are talking about an acre or less. And if you did an economic analysis, you realize that you need at least 2 to 3 acres to break even. And if you are doing those very low production areas, it means now you are not maximizing the returns from your enterprise. Our raw materials are very inefficient because, of course, our production is also low, also resulting in inefficiencies at processing. Our recoveries are very low. So our processor needs to buy so much to be able to get the recoveries they are looking for. That's a cost outlay, that is an inefficiency in itself, and it can be transferred across the value chain until you get a very expensive product at the retail level. If you walked into our supermarkets, even here in Diani, picking a cashew pack, trying to look at the price, sometimes it looks a bit prohibitive to ordinary mwananchi. But those are the inefficiencies which have all culminated in that very high cost. I've had those questions from a few of my colleagues that a farmer in the cashew value chain is saying they have no market. When you go to the supermarket, you then find a very high price. So what is the reasoning? It's because of those high production costs that has resulted to the high pricing. Our markets are not very structured. We are working through middlemen, and our middlemen are not even regulated. They are not working in a structured way. And sometimes, or unfortunately, it has gone to a level where we are doing barter trade. You pick a few of your cashews, you exchange for flour, that is cooking flour, or sugar at the shop, because the quantities are too low, and even the middlemen sometimes are not finding business in that node of the value chain. So that unstructured market results in efficiencies, and it results in high cost of aggregation, even for the processor. Of course, the quality, because of the neglect at the farm level, the quality is highly compromised. Nuts fall on the ground, and sometimes they turn moldy before they are being picked. They are insect infected. They are staying there for too long before picking, and that results in the low quality of cashew. As an authority, Agriculture and Food Authority, we have been trying to, intervene, albeit to a smaller extent in the value chain, to try and see whether we can sort a few of those challenges. Of course, we are not saying we have managed it. That's why we still have all those many challenges. But in the recent past, we have been trying to standardize whatever product that we have. So we have been working with our agencies at the national level to come up with standards to assist in standardizing the quality of nuts as raw and also as a finished product. We are also the people who have been working towards introducing cashew to the regions that we had shown early in the maps where cashew is now being grown outside the coast region. We have been having programs to try and establish nurseries outside the coastal region to give seedlings to farmers and educate them on the importance of that crop, and that's why we have seen the crop moving out of the coastal region. We have also been trying to work with our agencies at national and county level and providing planting material to our farmers. Rehabilitation, what we call copicing, you cut back and try to rehabilitate an old tree so that we are able to realize higher production. And extension support, mainly through training of trainers, special extension service providers to provide extension to our farming communities. Though there's a gap there, a major one, it looks like our extension support is not sufficient to reach the farmer. So that is an area that we need to be focused on. What are we proposing from government agencies? Replanting what is old and expanding to the new area. Need to work on if we have to realize the production that we have been wanting to realize. We need to introduce new varieties, and those new varieties we need to establish mother blocks for purposes of multiplication. A few nursery operators multiply cashew in Kenya, but they're using very old varieties whose productivity is very low. We are also proposing that those trees needs rehabilitation, especially through spraying and copicing where their trees are existing. And then support the extension needs to be strengthened so that farmers are reached and they're trained to be able to know how to apply good agricultural practices. And then formation of farm organization, to me this is a major gap that Cashew is not structured in a way that you can easily be able to reach the farmers to support them in terms of training, in terms of getting the produce. We need to put them into associations or cooperatives which can assist us to be able to aggregate, to train, and easily reach the farmers with inputs whenever need arises. So it's a major gap for us to realize what we have set out to achieve. I think that it should be one of the issues that needs to be refocused. Then aggregation, still related to the farmer, but sometimes aggregation can also be done by private sector. It's a business opportunity, and I think that as a business opportunity, it needs to be well structured and well regulated to be able to achieve the expected results. So generally, we are saying Cashew, in conclusion, has the potential for job creation for this country. It can also assist us improve our agro-processing capacity as a country. And that gap that is indicated by the figures we have been discussing speaks to that opportunity that exists. And all those strategies discussed early, in this case, are opportunities. These are business or investment areas that needs to be looked into for job creation, for income generation, and for provision of raw materials for our agro-processing facilities. Thank you so much. That is a saying on cashew, cashew my life. As a cashew nut, I have a long shelf life. Those are attributes of our cashew nuts. I'm versatile, and tremendous health benefits can be achieved by consuming cashew. So that speaks to demand. It's highly sought nut. It has wider acceptance because of those attributes, and it speaks to a market opportunity that exists for cashew. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the very best in the 2026 Cashew Conference deliberations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Director Kabla Oketi, just allow me to see whether kuna mtu akona swali on the status. Umesikia mambo venye yako, you heard from him and you can feel it. There are some very tough questions I've seen people type in. Nimeona mtu akiuliza pale, which is the best soil for growing the cashew. I think from the map you showed, you already had some indications, but I just want to see whether anyone, kuna mtu akona swali pale, very quick one, to that presentation that you have. Kuna mtu ameuliza swali ya, will this slides be shared? I think the information will be shared. If you have your email left there, we will share that. Any question? Going once, going twice. I can see there's a quick one here. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Heinz Müller from Nuts and More. I'm having one very important question in respect to the statistical records, tonnage. I would like to understand where these figures are established, where they are coming from, because we are the biggest processor in Kenya, in Vipingo, big factory. We have managed to collect 2,200 tons so far this season. You have there a statistic of 8,500 or nearly 9,000 tons. So where is this cashew all going? I doubt the statistical records. So that's my question. How do we establish these figures, please?
All right, that's a very good question. I don't know whether there's any other, so I can take like two. Kuna swali nyingine? Right here, sorry, sir.
Peter Masawe, consultant in cashew. From your presentations, you indicated that there are about 2 million trees. And the average production is about 15 kilogram per tree. If you divide 2 million by 15, you are getting 30,000 metric tons. Why is the production figure less than 10,000 tons?
Hesabu pale, hesabu kadhaa, 1, 2, 3. Haya basi. Maybe one from a farmer, maybe ama kutoka. There's a hand. Where is the hand? Oh yeah. Director, we can take 2 more. Excellent. Hi. Wait. Oh, I was looking for.
Jen Nyaga from Kwale. And when you're looking at the statistics, I would want to understand why Tanzania is appearing among the top producers, yet we just neighbor here. What is it that they're doing different from us? Maybe to assist us understand what to do. Thank you.
All right. Tanzania wako mbele kidogo in terms of statistics sawa. Haya. Ndio kidogo.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rachel Akoth. I just wanted to know, as Kenyans, do we even produce enough cashews for our own consumption, according to the statistic? Because when you started this, you asked us what our expectations. And most farmers were saying, oh, we need the market. Do we produce even enough for us? Because if you go to these supermarkets, how much are they selling half a kg of cashew? Now, why do we look for outside market, where us, we cannot even produce what is enough for us?
That's a good one. I think I can pick just this last one and then you can tackle those questions.
Okay, naitwa Martin. Swali langu ni ukiangalia ile graph yenye tulikuwa tumeonyeshwa, kuna time hiyo graph ilikuwa imepanda juu, kumaanisha kuna time hiyo production ya cashew nuts ilikuwa iko juu, alafu ikaja reduce. So first kitu yenye nitauliza ni kuwa amesema disadvantage ya hizo cashew nuts kurudi chini juu ya production ni deforestation. Na ukiangalia upande wa Kilifi, most of hizo mashamba ambao tulikuwa tunalima zilichukuliwa in the name of squatters. So napata wakulima wanafukuzwa wakisemekana hao ni squatters. Alafu hizo mashamba instead ya kulimwa zinakuwa reserved kwa personal people. Na kama government wanasema wanataka kuexpand wakati mashamba yetu yanachukuliwa, sisi kama wakulima tufanye nini?
Swali ngumu pale, sijui tungoje serikali ama. Director, over to you, what you can answer within those 4 questions or so. Asante.
Thank you so much. And the many questions imply that we are all together. We are in the same room and we are keen to the figures that are being projected here. Thank you so much for the responses. The first question was about the source of data. And at some point, if you remember, we indicated the number of farmers that we have been documented, because these were responses from farmers through the national census itself. And from there, we have been estimating through surveys carried out to be able to estimate production. So we carry out surveys across the region, and that is the basis of our estimation. Those are estimates, they are not actual data. Okay? It is an estimate of what we think, based on all those factors that we can keep constant, what we think could be the production. I hope that is clear that it's not actual data. However, we also receive what we call administrative data, which is returns from processing facilities, and we try to collect those figures to be able to estimate that production. So our main source is administrative data versus surveys carried out versus the census that was carried out for the population and housing. Then our good friend from Tanzania, Dr. Masawe, you had indicated, I had indicated that we should be having around 8,000 instead of 30,000 metric tons. What is the reason for that discrepancy, if I got you right? The main reason is that we have a lot of senile trees. As a country, our trees that are in production are very few. So the number of trees is not translating to the production as such. We have much more trees than the production itself. And that's where some farmers, if you heard them earlier, they were saying they are cutting down such trees for firewood. So that is the main reason. Our production, for some trees, there is no even production. So those are just trees, but production is not there. The other reason why that is the case is some trees are also very young, especially in the new frontier, and they are not yet in production. So we are counting those trees, and that's how we have a bigger number versus a very low production that don't seem to agree with each other. Then there's a friend of mine, a lady I think, who asked a question about whether we produce enough for our own consumption.
If you don't have a website for your business, it might as well be invisible. Hosting your AI helps you
versus what we are producing. Per capita consumption could be at 0.000. So our production is much lower. Consumption. And maybe Nats and Mo could speak to us at some point. At some point, we were importing from Tanzania because of our low production, and they have higher processing capacity. So, generally speaking, in fact, there is no relationship even between production and our consumption. Of course, there is another issue of whether there is demand, enough demand to be able to relate the two. And I think we have lower demand over time because of very high prices at retail, which has discouraged most of the consumers of even thinking about cashew consumption because the prices are prohibitively very high. Then there was another question about peak production that was seen in the graph. And as I was presenting, I mentioned something about it. And it was because of some efforts that were done that year. In fact, we were partly supported by the Africa Cashew Alliance. They gave us a few moisture meters. There were testing kits for quality. And we also had boom spraying across the region. And therefore, as we tried to engage more farmers and we tried to rehabilitate most of those trees through that spraying, during that year, we recorded higher production, and of course, even the weather was also good to have a better production. And as I was presenting, I said it indicates that indeed, if there is a focused effort towards rehabilitation, we can achieve higher production. Our main challenge lies in what would you call farmer apathy. I don't know how to translate that in Kiswahili. That farmers kind of gave up on the tree. They don't seem to see it as economically viable anymore. So part of our assignment in this conference is to reassure the farmer. And our partners, Nats and Mo, kindly will need to give you a chance to explain to the farmers that there is a processing facility and there is market for cashew. Because our farmers are still talking about the Kilifi Cashew Factory, which, it's a very long story. Some farmers don't believe that indeed there is a processor in Kenya. So that is information that we need to publicize as much as possible. There is enough capacity to process and there's a market for cashew. I hope I've answered most of the questions that were asked. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, and I think there are some that were written there. I don't know whether you're in a position to answer such. I think I shared, the slides will be shared, just leave your email. I don't know whether we will have sessions where we shall discuss about mambo ya soil, mambo ya kila kitu. So for now it was about the state of that. I don't know whether you have any comment, Director, on any of that. I think you have also talked about how can we get better markets. We shall have a session on that as well, is it? Kwa hivyo huu ni mwanzo tu. It was just a state of the market, but we shall go deeper into that. But just before then, allow me to just take one quick more round of questions and then we close on that. Please go ahead.
Myself, Shushil from Nuts and More. My question is again related to statistics. When AFA has the actual statistics of processing of producers, why those statistics are never come in the AFA booklet and we are just getting the statistics of estimates. which there is no basis even. So why can't, when all the process of submitting the quarterly returns, then APA should share those statistics, live records, that what actual status is, so that then we know where we are stand, and is it worth to even invest further in the Cashew? If there is no produce, then there is no meaning of bringing more machinery or other things. So actuals should be shared with us so that we can know where we are.
I hope we got that particular one. Let me come to this side as well. Have room for two more. Sir.
Thank you. My name is Masai. I'm a farmer in the sector. I'm not sure whether this is a question or an observation, but the director will appreciate it. Many years ago, there were efforts, especially cash crops from the coast region, borrowing from cash crops from up country, where we have organizations devoted to a particular crop. For example, we had Kenya Tea Development Authority, Coffee Board of Kenya. Now, when it comes to cashew nut, coconut, I remember there were efforts towards that. We ended up with Kenya Coconut Development Authority, spearheaded by CDA then. After that, we were supposed to go for Cashew Nut Development Authority, which the thinking then was there would have been a big contribution towards improving the sector. But then we went back to consolidation. Now we have Agriculture Food Authority taking on board most of those organizations. So Kenya Coconut was swallowed into AFA. It became a directorate instead. I'm imagining that in this conference, if we can have a honest discussion around that, and maybe isolate cashew nut and have affirmative action on cashew nut, give us an organization devoted to cashew nut, most of these challenges we are looking at today, I'm sure will be resolved. Finally, it's about the political goodwill. We ended up with Kenya Coconut Development Authority because the politicians then were for it and they were in the forefront. I'm not sure whether we still have that political goodwill when it comes to cashew nut. I'm sure politicians will come here. Let's talk to them and see. If we have political goodwill in improving cashew nut, I'm sure it will take a few hours to change what we have heard from the director. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think those were very good suggestions that you have mentioned. There was one more hand. Here you go.
Bismillah. Director, my name is Swale Mambea. I'm from Kwale County. My question is, I heard that there's an insect which is destroying our cashew trees. I don't know if it's true or not. And if it's true, do we have any medication for that?
Kuna kidudu. All right. Let me just take the final one. Oh, sasa wewe umekumbuka saa hizi. Lakini wacha nimalize hapa nishavuka sakafu.
Habari zenyu. Kwa majina ni Peter Dua. Mi ni mkulima wa Kwale, nalima upande wa Pongwe. The question that I had is, and I'm also with Pavi. So my question is, there's being a big push where you're encouraging us to come and grow korosho. So I'm very, very interested. But the problem that I've noticed is some of these crops are very encouraged, and then when the market is at its peak, there is no government incentive to control the pricing. So I just wanted to find out is, do you have a limit? Like right now with cotton, it was at 52 shillings. it moved to 65, and now nationally is at 72. So do you have any plans to make sure that you control? Secondly, we know about tariffs. I know people treat tariffs as a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing, especially for Kwale, that we're very close to Tanzania. What programs are you doing to encourage the farmers here that when the crop is here, it's not competing with the Tanzania, especially with the currency difference? Because we've seen like sugarcane has now started dwindling. Now, most farmers are very depressed about it or bitter. Thank you.
Haya, naomba tafadhali kwanza tujibu hayo, alafu unajua step at a time. Let's go direct.
Okay, thank you. You have mentioned Tanzania, and I've remembered there was a question about Tanzania. Why they are doing much better than we are doing. Professor, you have seen our status. You are from Tanzania, I'm sure. When the time comes, kindly inform us what you have seen across Tanzania, which we are not doing here. So I hope we'll benefit from that discussion when it comes. They have much more acreage, of course. They are doing more programs, but the details will come when the panelist comes to stage. And that was also our thinking, that we can invite a Tanzanian to enlighten us on how we can also improve our cashew sector to be able to be at par with what Tanzanians are doing. Then there was a question about price control. It is a basket of a mixture of issues when you look at pricing. One, the best economists will tell you that we should leave the market forces to determine the prices. But unfortunately, sometimes farmers feel exploited. And that's why maybe the question is coming as to whether there's a plan to do price controls. It is happening, I'm aware, in sugar. It is happening in cotton. What we have tried to do in our sister crop called macadamia is more of an advisory. There was an advisory there on macadamia being bought at a minimum of 100 shillings per kg. But recently, I also saw communication from the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture trying to establish what they're calling a price advisory committee. Maybe that price advisory committee for nuts and oil crops might be the solution to the question that's being asked. So there's such an attempt, but I really can't confirm at this point whether it will be about price controlling or about setting prices. The other question is about data from nuts and more, that we seem to be having data which we are not sharing. We need to admit that that is an oversight on our side. We need to prepare more regular reports to inform the industry status. And particularly myself, because I'm in charge of data, I should be able to improve on that and come up with regular reports for sharing. So it's an area that we need to work on. I hope we have noted as an area to improve. So maybe going forward, we'll be having more regular updates of industry performance. Then Masai, my good friend, was talking about the institution. It was more of, a comment, if I have to call it so, not a question. But there was policy from government at some point to reduce the number of parastatals. That is the government agencies dealing with specific commodities, and that is what resulted in the formation of AFA, where you are merging various institutions to create synergy. That was the intention. And that is even how we ended up with Calro. But in the recent past, I've also seen a few jump ship from AFA. If I have to go political, I will say there has been agitation from the stakeholders to have those institutions. So for me, I might not have a clear answer to the same, but it depends on what you mentioned, your political will, and all that, to be able to maybe create another institution, if you are able to lobby enough to say that this requires special attention and it should not be part of AFA. However, I also need to point out that sometimes the question that comes is whether whatever that new institution needs to do, can it be done within AFA? That question has been asked. And for the one that jumped the ship, is the sector doing better after leaving AFA? So I will not answer that, but I'll leave those as questions. And it is also sometimes about the resources available which need to be deployed to that crop rather than the institution itself. Because you can have a skeleton institution with 2 vehicles and a big name, and then you have no resources to deploy to farmers. So we need to balance the two, between the institution and the resources. What do we want? Do we lobby for more resources to go into those value chains, or do we want an institution? I might not go into that space because it might be conflict of interest. I work within AFA. Which other question came up? Insecticides, I think I need some advisory on the same. We have an arm that we call Technical Advisory Services, and even our colleagues from Calro, so Mr. Finyange Pole around, maybe they have this information about insects that are affecting our crop. So that question will be answered after we consult with our teams whether such reports have been reported, so that we can advise accordingly. Okay, thank you.
Asante sana. Let's appreciate director kidogo kwa makofi tafadhali. Now, sijui director, ule jamaa ataninyima korosho nisipo, unajua, chukua swali lake. Kama niambia utanipatia korosho kilo ngapi? Haya, sawa, lakini twende.
Asante, mimi naitwa Ali Abdalamondo, ni mkazi wa kaunti hii na ni mkwasi wa masuala ya korosho kwa muda mrefu. Kuna mambo matatu hapa nataka tuafikiane, tukubaliane, alafu uweze kunielekeza. Jambo la kwanza, hawa wakulima wakisimama wanalalamikia bei duni ya zao lao la korosho wakati wanauza raw. Lakini uhakika kama kuna bidhaa ambayo utaipata kwa soko, kwa market ambayo iko ghali, ni korosho. Hata nimeenda kuzunguka hapo tayari kuangalia hizo product ambazo ziko hapo kwa stand, ziko expensive. Mbali ya mfuko wa mnunuzi, ni mambo gani ambayo yanachangia hudunishaji wa korosho wakati inanunuliwa, alafu kuipata tena kwa market ikuwe ghali? Ni mambo gani ambayo yanafanyika hapo paka kufanya zao hili kuwa ni ghali, paka linashusha hamu ya sisi kuzila korosho japo zinatoka kwetu? Asante.
Swali nzuri pale, mambo ya value addition, sijui pale. Sijui kama kuna mtu nimefungia asiseme kumbe. Haya, just the final ones, then tumalize. Naja kwako, chanije kwa ujamaa kwa wapi?
Majina yangu naitwa James Muia, ni mkulima na pia ni mfanyikazi wa Prime Cashew Nuts, ambao ni associate ya Nuts and More. Na mimi ni mkazi wa Kwale, ni mkulima, niko na ujuzi wa korosho kwa miaka zaidi ya 25. Niko na swali kwa wale washikadau, wale wa serikali. Sisi tulianza kupigania huu mkorosho kutoka mwaka wa 2003, wakati tunapigania at least ban of export of raw cashew nuts. Ikaenda for 7 years. By then the president was the Minister for Agriculture. Akaisukuma mpaka ikafikia pale 2010 ndio ikawa practical. Sasa swali langu ni, serikali inafanya nini ili kukuza mkorosho? Serikali inasaidia mpwani nini ili korosho iwe ya dhamana? Tukiangalia mmea wa avocado ulianza the other day. Sasa hii wakulima wa avocado walio mahali hapa ni mashahidi kwamba Kenya iko among the world list kwa upande wa avocado. Kwa sababu gani? Serikali ilitilia mkazo. Na sisi kama wa Pwani, sisi kama wa Kwale, sisi kama wa Kilifi, sisi kama wa Lamu, tunaomba serikali isiwe tu ni mikutano. Nimekuwa Tanzania kwa mkutano na kwa wakulima. Tukiangalia hivi ni kama east na west, hakuna tofauti, yani kuna tofauti kubwa sana. Kwa hivyo swali langu ni, why is the government not putting more effort as it is doing to other cash crops in our country? What swali langu ni, we have investors. Those are serious investors. They came here to invest. They came here 2022. They set up a very big facility worthy around 500 US dollars, coming to help us as Kenyans. Yet the government is not supporting them as it is supposed to do. Employing so many people losing employment because of lack of, and that's why you see they are arguing about what? About the figures which are being given there. They are contrary. So my plea is to all government stakeholders concerned with the cashew nut growing to take it serious. We as Coastarians, what we have is only cashew nut, seconded by coconut, bixa, and then mangoes. Then we are done. Alafu tunatokea.
So Asante, very passionate there. What can be done better? Director, maybe you could now take that. We can close that session with those questions.
Thank you so much. A passionate appeal from our colleague from Prime Nuts that he feels we do not seem to be giving enough attention to cashew. The value chain, if you remember, there was some chain, has so many players, and from my way of looking at it, I believe government is an enabler. The actual value chain players are mainly the farmers and maybe the processors. We are supposed to provide that support, and the feeling is that that support is not enough, which is a valid concern. And partly, as I said earlier, that's why we are here, to reflect and see how best to direct enough resources to cashew. But cashew is within Agriculture and Food Authority as a scheduled crop. And the programs, we try to enlist a few of them there. The concern is that whatever efforts that we have put there is not enough. But from my other analysis tells me that what ails cashew is an information gap in my thinking. I could be wrong, I stand to be rectified. Is an information gap. The processor is here talking about lack of raw materials. And the farmer is on this other corner talking about lack of market. Then how do we assure the farmer? Which comes first? Is it, do we develop the market, the farmer fits into that, or the other way around? And that information gap is what we are trying to address here, by assuring the farmer that indeed there is a market and the processor is here ready to buy. The crop that you've mentioned is doing well mainly because of farmers' efforts. That is avocado. Why? Because of that assurance that there is market. So I believe if we get that assurance of, steady good markets for cashew, then we will have stimulated production. The farmer will somehow try as much as possible to produce enough for that market. So are we able to address that information asymmetry, which has created farmer apathy, disillusionment? Farmers don't seem to be having a hope within this value chain. If we address that, we will have kind of done half of the challenge, because now the demand for the planting material and everything else will be where farmers fit, the government fits in. Because previously, we have had situations where farmers, even if you gave them a planting material for cashew, they were not interested. Why? Because they don't know where to take it at the end of the day. But we have the buyer here. Which other market are we talking about? So to me, I believe that is the gap, an information gap between the buyer and the seller, so that the farmer goes back to take care of the tree. The other challenge we face, which answers to another question that was asked about the high price at retail, is the quality. That if we neglected our crop to a level where the recoveries are extremely low, it means someone has to buy so many kilos to be able to recover the little that they're able to recover. And in the process, that is what makes the prices to be very high in the retail, because a margin has to be added. I might not have satisfactorily answered your question, but I believe the solution lies there. We will fit in if the demand is good enough. But sometimes we have not seen demand even from farmers to take care of this crop. Thank you.
Naomba tafadhali tusikizane kidogo hapa, just to plan some housekeeping, because our guests are here, all of them, all right? And hapa kuna chai, na naogopa wakiingia hapa wageni chai hatapata, itaenda sijui wapi, kwa sababu we will get to lunch hour. So I want us to get a very quick break for tea. Unajua kuna watu wakienda pale ndio wanaanza kupigia nyumbani, kunaendaje tunasahau, alafu mkutano unaendelea. So I want to request us to do it very fast. Ukienda pale, just get your tea and then back here. I don't know if I could have my chief usher, where are we having the tea? Which side is it? So that at least we can be able to point it out. I think the ushers there at the door are going to direct us. Kwa hivyo twende, quick break, health break. Wale ambao daktari amesema usikunywe chai saa hizi, usikunywe, wewe na tu health break urudi. Sawa sawa? Alafu tuendelee. Sawa sawa? Very fast in the next, let me say by 11